The whip cracked through the air. Isabella flinched before the leather even touched her back. She had learned to anticipate pain. It was the one constant in her life at Thornwood Estate. "You worthless creature!" her stepmother hissed. Lady Thornwood circled Isabella like a hawk above wounded prey. "Look at this gown! Ruined! Do you know what fine silk costs?" Isabella kept her eyes on the stone floor. The wine stains spread across her skirt like spilled blood. Her hands had shaken when she served dinner. They always shook now. Fear did that to a person. "I am sorry, my lady." Isabella's voice came out small, defeated. "It was an accident. Everything with you is an accident." Lady Thornwood's face twisted with disgust. "Your very existence is an accident. A burden your father left me when he died." The words cut deeper than any whip. Isabella was 19 years old. She had spent the last 7 years as a servant in her own father's house. When he died, everything changed. Lady Thornwood showed her true nature. The kind stepmother became a cruel mistress overnight. "Go to the kitchen," Lady Thornwood commanded. "No supper for you tonight. Perhaps hunger will teach you grace." Isabella curtsied and fled. Her worn shoes made soft sounds on the marble floors. These halls used to echo with her laughter. Now they only held memories of better days. The kitchen was warm at least. Cook looked up from her bread dough with kind eyes. "Another punishment, miss?" Cook asked softly. Isabella nodded. She couldn't speak yet. The tears were too close to the surface. If she opened her mouth, she would sob. She refused to give Lady Thornwood that satisfaction. "Sit by the fire, dear." Cook wiped her flour-covered hands on her apron. "I'll hide some bread for you later. Can't have you starving." "You are too good to me." Isabella managed a weak smile. "Somebody ought to be." Cook shook her head. "It ain't right, what she does to you. Your father would turn in his grave." Isabella thought about her father often. He had loved her mother so deeply. When mother died giving birth to Isabella, father fell into grief. He remarried too quickly. Lady Thornwood seemed charming at first. She brought her own daughter, Beatrice, into their home. For 2 years they played at being a family. Then father died. The mask fell away. Lady Thornwood discovered that father had left everything to Isabella. The house, the lands, the money. All held in trust until Isabella turned 21. Lady Thornwood would manage it until then. She had 2 years of control remaining. 2 years to bleed the estate dry and make Isabella's life miserable. "Miss Isabella," a young maid burst into the kitchen. "You must hide. Lord Blackwood is here." Isabella's blood turned to ice. Lord Blackwood. The name alone made her skin crawl. "What does he want?" Cook demanded. "He is speaking with Lady Thornwood in the drawing room." The maid wrung her hands. "I heard him say Miss Isabella's name." Isabella stood on shaking legs. Whatever this was, it would not be good. Lord Blackwood was a monster dressed in gentleman's clothing. He was 50 years old, cruel, and obsessed with young women. He had buried 3 wives already. Rumor said he beat them all. The kitchen door flew open. Lady Thornwood stood there with a smile that promised suffering. "There you are, Isabella." Her voice dripped false sweetness. "Come, we have wonderful news." Isabella followed. Each step felt like walking to the gallows. The drawing room door loomed ahead. Through it, she heard a man's low voice, deep, commanding, but not Lord Blackwood's wheezing rasp. Inside the drawing room, Isabella stopped breathing. A man stood by the fireplace. He was tall, with broad shoulders that filled his dark coat perfectly. His hair was black as midnight. His face was carved from stone, all sharp angles and hard lines. But his eyes caught her attention most. They were gray like a winter storm, cold, Empty. Dead. This was not Lord Blackwood. "Isabella, this is the Duke of Ravenscroft." Lady Thornwood pushed her forward. "Your Grace, my stepdaughter." Isabella curtsied low. Her heart hammered. A duke. What business did a duke have with her? "Stand up, girl." His voice matched his eyes, cold and lifeless. Isabella obeyed. She kept her gaze lowered. Looking at nobility directly was forbidden to someone in her position. "Look at me." She raised her eyes slowly. He studied her face like a man examining a horse at market. His expression revealed nothing. "She will do," he said finally. "Excellent." Lady Thornwood clapped her hands. "The arrangements are made, then. Isabella, you should be grateful. His Grace has agreed to marry you." The world tilted. Isabella gripped the back of a chair to stay upright. "Marry?" The word came out as a whisper. "Indeed." Lady Thornwood's smile was victorious. "Is it not wonderful? You shall be a duchess, far better than you deserve." Isabella looked at the Duke. He watched her with those dead eyes. No warmth, no kindness, just cold assessment. "I don't understand." Isabella turned to her stepmother. "Why would His Grace want to marry me?" "Because I have paid handsomely for you." The Duke's words fell like stones. "Your stepmother owes Lord Blackwood a great debt. Gambling debts, to be precise. Lord Blackwood intended to take you as payment. I bought that debt. Now I own you." The room spun. Isabella gripped the chair tighter. "You bought me?" Anger flared hot in her chest. It was a rare emotion for her now. She had learned to bury her feelings, but this was too much. "I am not property." "Legally, you are." The Duke stepped closer. "Until you inherit your father's estate, you are your stepmother's ward. She has the right to arrange your marriage. She has chosen me." To save herself from Lord Blackwood, Isabella looked at Lady Thornwood with new understanding. "You gambled away money that was not yours. You faced ruin, so you sold me to save yourself." Lady Thornwood's face reddened. "Mind your tongue, girl. You should be thanking me. The Duke is wealthy and titled. Any woman would dream of such a match. Any woman who was not being purchased like cattle." Isabella surprised herself with her boldness. Perhaps she had nothing left to lose. The Duke's expression did not change, but something flickered in those gray eyes. Surprise, perhaps, or respect. "The wedding will be in 3 days," he announced. "I will send my carriage for you. Bring nothing. You will have new clothes at Ravenscroft Hall." He turned to leave, then paused at the door. "For what it is worth," he said without looking back, "I saved you from Lord Blackwood. He would have broken you within a month. I may be cold, but I am not cruel." Then he was gone. Isabella stood in the drawing room, her world shattered. In 3 days, she would belong to a man who bought her like merchandise. A man with dead eyes and an empty heart. But he was right about one thing. Lord Blackwood would have destroyed her. At least the Duke offered something different. She did not know what yet, but it had to be better than being beaten to death by a monster. Lady Thornwood left the room without another word. Isabella sank into the chair. Her legs would not hold her anymore. Cook found her there an hour later, staring at nothing. "Come, miss." Cook helped her stand. "Let's get you to bed." "He bought me, Cook." Isabella's voice sounded hollow, like a horse or a piece of furniture. "I know, dear." Cook wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "But you are leaving this house. That alone is a blessing." Isabella supposed that was true. Thornwood Estate had become her prison. Ravenscroft Hall would be a different prison. But perhaps the jailer would be kinder. She climbed the stairs to her tiny attic room. It used to be a servant's quarters. Now it was hers. Lady Thornwood had moved her from her childhood bedroom years ago. Just another way to remind Isabella of her fallen status. Isabella lay on the narrow bed. Sleep would not come. Her mind spun with questions. Why did the Duke need a wife? Why buy one? A man of his wealth and title could have any woman in England. Unless something was wrong with him. The thought chilled her. Perhaps he was worse than Lord Blackwood. Perhaps he hid darker cruelties behind that cold facade. But she had seen something in his eyes at the end, when he said he was not cruel. It was brief. A flash of something human beneath the ice. Pain, maybe. Or loneliness. Isabella understood loneliness. It had been her companion for 7 years. 3 days later, the Duke's carriage arrived at dawn. Isabella stood in the front hall wearing her best dress. It was faded and patched. She looked like a beggar, not a bride. Lady Thornwood did not come to say goodbye. Neither did Beatrice. Only Cook and a few kind servants saw her off. "Be brave, miss." Cook pressed a small cloth bundle into her hands. "I packed some bread and cheese for your journey." "Thank you." Isabella hugged Cook tightly. "For everything. For being kind when no one else was. You deserve kindness, miss. Don't let anyone tell you different." The carriage door opened. A footman in dark blue livery helped Isabella inside. The interior was luxurious. Soft velvet seats, polished wood panels. It smelled of leather and money. Isabella ate her bread as the carriage rolled away from Thornwood Estate. She did not look back. There was nothing there worth seeing. The journey took 6 hours. Isabella watched the countryside pass by. Rolling hills, small villages. Everything looked gray under the cloudy sky. Finally, they turned onto a long drive. Ravenscroft Hall appeared through the trees. Isabella gasped. It was enormous. 3 stories of pale stone with dozens of windows that gleamed like eyes. Towers rose at each corner. Gardens spread out on all sides, perfectly manicured despite the season. This was to be her home, her prison, her future. The carriage stopped at the grand entrance. The footman helped her down. Isabella stood on the gravel drive, feeling tiny and insignificant. The front door opened. A butler descended the steps. He was old, with white hair and a stern face. "Miss Thornwood, I presume. I am Wadsworth, the butler. Welcome to Ravenscroft Hall." "Thank you." Isabella's voice came out small. "His Grace is away on business. He will return for the wedding tomorrow morning. Come, I will show you to your rooms." Isabella followed Wadsworth into the house. The entrance hall took her breath away. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, a grand staircase that curved up to the 2nd floor. Portraits lined the walls. Generations of Ravenscrofts stared down at her with varying expressions. "These will be your chambers." Wadsworth opened a door on the 2nd floor. Isabella stepped inside and froze. The room was bigger than the entire ground floor of most cottages. A huge 4-poster bed dominated one wall. Thick carpets covered the floor. Silk curtains framed tall windows. A fireplace crackled with welcoming warmth. "This cannot be right." Isabella turned to Wadsworth. "Surely this is too fine for someone like me." "You will be the Duchess of Ravenscroft." Wadsworth's expression softened slightly. "These are the Duchess's chambers. They are yours by right." A door opened from the adjoining room. A woman in her 40s entered, wearing a housekeeper's black dress and white cap. "This is Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper," Wadsworth said. "She will help you prepare for tomorrow." Mrs. Winters curtsied. Her smile was warm and genuine. "Welcome, miss. Let's get you settled, shall we?" Wadsworth left. Mrs. Winters immediately began fussing over Isabella. "Goodness, child, you are skin and bones. When did you last have a proper meal?" "I cannot remember," Isabella admitted. "Well, that changes now. I'll have a bath drawn and food sent up. Then we shall see about fitting you for a wedding dress." His Grace said I would have new clothes. Isabella felt embarrassed by her worn dress. Indeed, the dressmaker has been working day and night. His Grace was very specific in his instructions. Only the finest fabrics, only the best workmanship. Isabella did not know what to make of that. Why would a man who bought her care about her clothes? The bath was heaven. Hot water, scented with lavender. Isabella soaked until her skin wrinkled. A maid washed and styled her long brown hair. Another maid brought food: roasted chicken, fresh bread, vegetables in rich sauce. Isabella ate until she thought she might burst. Then came the wedding dress. Mrs. Winters and 2 seamstresses carried it in carefully. Isabella stared in disbelief. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. Ivory silk that seemed to glow in the firelight. Delicate lace at the collar and sleeves. Tiny pearls sewn across the bodice. It must have cost a fortune. "Shall we try it on, miss?" Mrs. Winters asked gently. Isabella nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. The dress fit perfectly. The seamstresses had worked from Lady Thornwood's measurements, apparently. They clucked and pinned a few adjustments. Isabella looked at herself in the mirror. She barely recognized her reflection. Clean hair, a beautiful dress. For a moment she almost looked like a lady again. But her eyes told the truth. They held too much sadness, too much pain. A pretty dress could not hide that. "You look lovely, miss," Mrs. Winters said softly. "Thank you." Isabella touched the silk carefully. "I do not understand why he did this. Why spend so much on someone he bought?" Mrs. Winters hesitated. Then she leaned closer and spoke quietly. "His Grace is a complicated man, miss. He has known great sorrow. Lost people he loved. It changed him, made him cold. But underneath that ice, he is still a good man. Give him time. Be patient with him." "Did he tell you why he needed a wife?" Isabella asked. "No, His Grace does not explain himself. But I have worked for this family for 30 years. I know him better than most. Whatever his reasons, he will not hurt you. That much I promise." It was small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. That night, Isabella lay in the enormous bed, unable to sleep. Tomorrow she would marry a stranger. A man with dead eyes and an empty heart. A man who bought her freedom from one monster, only to chain her to himself. But as she drifted toward sleep, she remembered his words. "I saved you from Lord Blackwood. He would have broken you within a month. I may be cold, but I am not cruel." Perhaps cold was better than cruel. Perhaps ice could be melted. Perhaps, in time, she could find a way to survive this marriage. She had survived 7 years at Thornwood Estate. She could survive this, too. The wedding took place the next morning in Ravenscroft Hall's private chapel. No guests attended. Only Wadsworth and Mrs. Winters served as witnesses. Isabella wore the beautiful ivory dress. Her hands shook as she held a small bouquet of white roses. Mrs. Winters had picked them from the greenhouse, especially for her. The Duke stood at the altar. He wore a black coat and gray waistcoat. His cravat was tied perfectly. He looked every inch the powerful nobleman. Handsome, remote, untouchable. The vicar began the ceremony. His voice droned through the familiar words. Isabella barely heard them. Her heart pounded too loudly in her ears. "Do you, Isabella Margaret Thornwood, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Isabella looked at the Duke. His gray eyes met hers. They were still cold, but something in his expression seemed almost gentle. Or perhaps she imagined it. "I do." Her voice was steady, surprising her. Do you, Christian Alexander Whitmore, Duke of Ravenscroft, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. His voice was firm. No hesitation. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. The Duke stepped closer. Isabella's breath caught. He leaned down slowly, giving her time to pull away. They climbed to the third floor. Mrs. Winters showed her the portrait gallery. Generations of Ravenscrofts stared down from the walls. This is His Grace's mother. Mrs. Winters stopped before a beautiful portrait. The woman had kind eyes and a gentle smile. She looks lovely. Isabella studied the painted face. She was a true lady. She died when His Grace was 15. He adored her. And his father? Mrs. Winters' expression darkened. The late Duke was a hard man, cold, demanding. He died 5 years ago. His Grace inherited young. They moved to another portrait. A young woman with golden hair and blue eyes. She wore a wedding dress. This is the late Duchess, Mrs. Winters said quietly. Isabella's heart stopped. The late Duchess? Christian was married before? Yes, to Lady Catherine. It was a love match, rare among the nobility. They married when he was 23. She died 2 years later. Fever took her quickly. Isabella stared at the portrait. Lady Catherine was beautiful. No wonder Christian's eyes were dead. He had loved and lost. He never recovered, Mrs. Winters continued. After she died, he closed himself off, stopped attending society events, rarely left the estate. He became the cold man you met. But before, he was different. Warm, quick to laugh. Catherine's death killed that part of him. Understanding dawned on Isabella. Christian did not want a wife. He wanted someone to fill the role. Someone to manage his household. Someone who would not demand his heart, because his heart was buried with Catherine. Why did he marry again? Isabella asked. Mrs. Winters hesitated. I should not say. It is not my place. Please, Isabella touched her arm. I need to understand. Mrs. Winters sighed. Very well. His Grace's cousin has been pressuring him to remarry. The Duke has no heir. If he dies without a son, the title passes to his cousin. A cruel, greedy man. His Grace despises him. But he could not bring himself to court anyone properly. He could not face society. So he found another way. He bought a wife who would not expect love. Isabella finished the thought. Someone grateful enough not to make demands on his heart. I am sorry, Your Grace. It is not fair to you. Isabella looked at Catherine's portrait again. The woman was dead, but she still owned Christian's heart. Isabella would always be second, always be the replacement who could never measure up. But what had she expected? Love? She barely knew what that felt like anymore. Thank you for your honesty, Mrs. Winters. Isabella turned away from the portrait. At least now I understand. That evening, Isabella explored the library. Books had been her escape as a child. She selected a volume of poetry and settled into a comfortable chair by the fire. She was reading when Christian entered. He stopped when he saw her. I apologize. I did not know you were here. He started to leave. Please stay. Isabella's voice surprised her. This is your library. I am the intruder. He hesitated, then moved to the desk in the corner. He pulled out papers and began working. Isabella returned to her book. They sat in comfortable silence for over an hour. Isabella found herself glancing at him occasionally. He worked with intense focus. His brow furrowed in concentration. His fingers moved gracefully as he wrote. He was handsome, she could admit that. Strong jaw, high cheekbones. Those intense gray eyes. If he smiled, he would be devastating. But he never smiled. Not once since she met him. Do you need something? He looked up suddenly, catching her staring. No, I apologize. Heat flooded her cheeks. You may look at me, Isabella. We are married. It is not a crime. I was just thinking that you never smile. The words escaped before she could stop them. His expression did not change. I have little reason to smile these days. That seems sad. Perhaps, but it is my reality. He returned to his work. Isabella bit her lip. She should leave him alone, but something made her push forward. Mrs. Winters showed me the portrait gallery today. I saw Lady Catherine's portrait. She was very beautiful. Christian's hand froze. His jaw tightened. For a long moment he said nothing. Yes, his voice was barely audible. She was. I am sorry for your loss. It was 5 years ago. Time does not always heal grief. He looked at her sharply, really looked at her for the first time. Something in his expression shifted. You speak from experience. I lost my mother when I was born, my father when I was 12. Then I lost my home, my position, my dignity. I understand loss. Christian set down his pen. He studied her with new interest. Your stepmother treated you poorly. It was not a question. Isabella nodded. How poorly? Does it matter now? It is in the past. It matters to me. You are my wife. I should know what you endured. Isabella was not sure why she told him. Perhaps because his eyes held something other than coldness for once. Perhaps because the library felt safe. Perhaps because she needed to speak the words aloud. She told him everything. The years as a servant in her own home, the beatings, the starvation, the constant reminders that she was worthless, ugly, a burden. Christian listened without interrupting. Winters guided her patiently. The staff accepted her quickly. She was kind to them, fair, so different from the cold duke they served. Isabella and Christian fell into a routine. They took breakfast together each morning. The meals were mostly silent, but comfortable. He asked about her plans for the day. She asked about his work. They spent evenings in the library together. Isabella read while Christian worked. Sometimes they talked. Small conversations about books or weather or estate matters. Nothing deep, nothing personal, but pleasant nonetheless. Christian was never cruel. He was distant, but not unkind. He made sure she had everything she needed. New dresses arrived regularly, jewelry, a beautiful mare to ride. Anything she mentioned wanting appeared within days. But he never touched her again after that night in the library. He never came to her bedroom. Their marriage remained unconsummated. Isabella did not know how to feel about that. Part of her was relieved, but another part felt rejected. Did he find her unappealing? Was she not woman enough to replace Catherine's memory? One evening, Isabella went to the music room. She had been practicing the pianoforte again. Her fingers remembered the old songs her mother taught her. She played a sad melody, something about lost love and longing. The notes filled the empty room with melancholy beauty. She did not hear Christian enter. When she finished and looked up, he stood by the door. His expression was raw with emotion, pain, longing, grief. That was beautiful. His voice was rough. Thank you. My mother used to play it. I always loved it, even though it made me sad. Catherine played it too. He moved closer. On our wedding night, she said it reminded her that love was worth the risk of loss. Isabella's heart clenched. Everything came back to Catherine. I am sorry. I will not play it again. No. He sat beside her on the bench, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. Play it again, please. Isabella played. Christian closed his eyes and listened. When she finished, he was silent for a long moment. I cannot give you what you deserve, Isabella. His words were barely audible. My heart is broken. I do not think it can be mended. I know. Isabella placed her hands in her lap. I saw Catherine's portrait. Mrs. Winters told me about her. I understand. Do you? He looked at her with tortured eyes. Do you understand that I married you knowing I could never love you? That I would always compare you to her? The words hurt, but Isabella had suspected as much. Yes, I understand. You needed a wife but could not bear to court one, could not face society and their pity. So you found me. Someone desperate enough to accept a loveless marriage. It sounds cruel when you say it like that, but it is the truth. Christian ran his hands through his hair, mussing it. He looked younger suddenly, more vulnerable. I thought I could do this, have a marriage of convenience, keep my heart locked away and just go through the motions. But then you came here, and you are nothing like I expected. What did you expect? Someone timid, someone broken by years of abuse, someone who would hide in her rooms and make no demands. And instead? Instead, you play music that makes me feel again. You smile at the servants and make them happy. You bring life into this dead house. You make me remember what I am missing. Isabella turned to face him. Is that so terrible? Yes. His voice broke. Because I cannot give you what you need. I cannot love you. And you deserve to be loved, Isabella. You deserve someone who can give you their whole heart. What if I do not need your whole heart? Isabella surprised herself with her boldness. What if I just need kindness, respect, a home where I am safe? That is not enough for a lifetime. It is more than I had at Thornwood Estate. It is more than I would have had with Lord Blackwood. Perhaps it is enough. Christian studied her face. You deserve more than enough. You deserve everything. Then give me what you can. Isabella reached for his hand. He let her take it. His fingers closed around hers, warm and strong. We do not have to love each other, but we could be friends, partners. We could build something good here. I do not know if I remember how. Then we will learn together. Christian lifted her hand to his lips. He pressed a kiss to her knuckles. The gesture was courtly but tender. You are remarkable, Isabella. I do not tell you that enough. You have never told me that before. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Then I am long overdue. They sat together on the piano bench, hands clasped. The music room felt warmer somehow, less empty. It was not love, but it was a beginning. The next morning, a letter arrived. Wadsworth brought it to Isabella at breakfast. A message from Thornwood Estate, Your Grace. Isabella's blood chilled. She had not heard from her stepmother since the wedding. She opened the letter with shaking hands. The words swam before her eyes. Lady Thornwood demanded money, a substantial sum. She claimed Isabella owed her for years of room and board. If Isabella did not pay, Lady Thornwood would spread rumors. She would tell everyone that Isabella trapped the Duke, that she was carrying another man's child before the wedding, that she was a scheming fortune hunter. All lies. But society loved scandal. They would believe anything salacious about a girl from nowhere who married a duke. What is it? Christian looked up from his own correspondence. Isabella handed him the letter silently. She watched his face darken as he read. This is blackmail. He set the letter down carefully. She is threatening you. I know. What should I do? Nothing. I will handle this. Christian, no. I do not want to cause trouble. Trouble? He stood abruptly. She abused you for 7 years. She sold you to pay her debts. Now she wants more money? No. This ends today. He left the breakfast room before Isabella could argue. She sat alone, her appetite gone. Fear twisted in her stomach. What would Christian do? She found out that afternoon. Wadsworth announced that Lady Thornwood had arrived. Isabella rushed to the entrance hall. Her stepmother stood there, face red with rage. Christian stood opposite her, expression cold as winter. "You cannot refuse me," Lady Thornwood shrieked. "I have rights." "You have no rights here." Christian's voice was dangerously calm. "Isabella is my wife. You have no claim on her, or her fortune. She owes me." "She owes you nothing. You stole from her. You beat her. You treated her worse than a servant. You sold her to me to save yourself from ruin. If anything, you owe her." Lady Thornwood's eyes fell on Isabella. "You poisoned him against me, you ungrateful wretch." Christian moved, placing himself between them. "Do not speak to my wife that way." "Your wife?" Lady Thornwood laughed bitterly. "She trapped you with lies. The only liar here is you." Christian produced a document from his coat. "This is a letter from Lord Blackwood himself. He detailed every debt you owe him, how you gambled away Isabella's inheritance money, how you planned to give her to him as payment, how I bought those debts and freed her." Lady Thornwood's face went white. "If you ever contact Isabella again," Christian continued, his voice deadly quiet, "I will ensure this letter reaches every important person in London. Your reputation will be destroyed. You will be shunned by society. You will lose everything. You would not dare. Try me." Christian stepped closer to Lady Thornwood. "I am a duke. My word carries weight. Yours does not. If you spread any rumors about Isabella, I will crush you. Do you understand?" Lady Thornwood looked between Christian and Isabella. For the first time in 7 years, Isabella saw fear in her stepmother's eyes. "This is not over." But Lady Thornwood's voice wavered. "Yes, it is." Christian gestured to Wadsworth. "Show Lady Thornwood out. She is not welcome at Ravenscroft Hall. Ever." Wadsworth firmly escorted Lady Thornwood to her carriage. Isabella watched through the window as it drove away. Her hands shook. Her knees felt weak. Christian turned to her. His expression softened. "Are you all right? You defended me." Isabella's voice trembled. "You stood up to her. For me." "Of course I did. You are my wife. No one threatens you while I draw breath." Tears spilled down Isabella's cheeks. Christian crossed to her quickly. His arms came around her, pulling her against his chest. She sobbed into his coat, releasing years of fear and pain. "It is over now." Christian's hand stroked her hair gently. "She cannot hurt you anymore. You are safe." Isabella clung to him. He held her tightly, his strength surrounding her. For the first time since her father died, she felt truly protected, truly cared for. When her tears finally stopped, Christian led her to the drawing room. He settled her on the sofa and poured her a glass of brandy. "Drink this. It will help with the shock." Isabella sipped the burning liquid. It warmed her from the inside. Christian sat beside her, close enough that their knees touched. "Thank you." Isabella met his eyes. "No one has ever defended me before." "That is a crime in itself." Christian took her hand. "You deserved to be protected, cherished. Your family failed you. You barely know me, yet you faced her down without hesitation. I know enough." His thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. "I know you are brave, kind, strong. I know you deserve better than you received. And I know that as long as you are my wife, I will ensure you are treated with the respect you deserve." Isabella looked at their joined hands. Something warm bloomed in her chest. something that felt dangerously like affection. "You are not as cold as you pretend to be, Christian." His lips quirked. "Do not let that information spread. I have a reputation to maintain." Isabella laughed. It was a real laugh, full and genuine. Christian's eyes widened. Then he smiled. A true smile that reached his eyes and made them warm. "You should laugh more," he said softly. "It suits you. You should smile more. It transforms your face." They sat together in comfortable silence. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows. For the first time since their wedding, Isabella felt something other than uncertainty. She felt hope. That evening, Isabella dressed carefully for dinner. She chose a blue silk gown that Mrs. Winters said matched her eyes. She let her maid arrange her hair in an elegant style. When she entered the dining room, Christian was already there. He turned and froze. His eyes widened. "You look beautiful." The words escaped him like a confession. "Thank you," Isabella blushed. "I wanted to look nice for you." "You always look nice," but his gaze lingered on her. "Tonight you look extraordinary." They dined together, the conversation flowing more easily than before. Christian told her about his day. She told him about her plans for redecorating one of the guest rooms. He listened attentively, offering opinions when asked. After dinner, they walked in the garden. The evening air was cool. Christian offered his arm. Isabella took it, feeling the warmth of his body next to hers. "I have been thinking," Christian said after a while, "about what you said last night, about being friends." "Yes? I would like that. To be your friend, your partner. I may not be able to give you romantic love, but I can give you companionship, loyalty, protection." "I would like that too." Isabella squeezed his arm gently. They walked until the stars came out. Christian pointed out constellations. Isabella listened to his deep voice and felt content. When they returned inside, Christian walked her to her bedroom door. He raised her hand to his lips again. "Good night, Isabella. Thank you for a lovely evening." "Good night, Christian." She watched him walk down the hall to his own chambers. Her heart felt full. They were not in love, but they were building something real and good. The weeks turned into months. Isabella and Christian grew closer. They spent their days together more often. He showed her the estate. They rode horses through the countryside. He taught her about managing the lands. She taught him to laugh again. The servants noticed the change. The Duke smiled now. He was warmer with everyone. Isabella brought light into his darkness. Isabella noticed changes in herself too. She stood taller, spoke with more confidence. The voice in her head that said she was worthless grew quieter each day. Christian's constant respect and kindness erased the lies Lady Thornwood had planted. One evening, they sat together in the library. Isabella read while Christian worked as usual. She glanced up and caught him staring at her. "What is it?" she asked. "I was just thinking how much my life has changed since you came here." "Changed how?" "I was merely existing before, going through each day without feeling anything, without joy or purpose. You brought life back into this house, into me." Isabella set down her book. "You did the same for me. You gave me back my dignity, my sense of self-worth. You made me believe I deserve good things." Christian left his desk and crossed to her. He knelt beside her chair, taking both her hands. "I need to tell you something. I have been fighting it for months, but I cannot fight it anymore." Isabella's heart raced. "What is it?" "I think I am falling in love with you." The words hung in the air between them. Isabella's breath caught. "But you said you could not love again, that your heart belonged to Catherine." "I thought it did, I thought I would carry her memory forever and never feel anything for another woman. His grip on her hands tightened. But then you came into my life. You with your quiet strength and gentle kindness. You who make me want to smile again, want to feel again. Christian. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. I am terrified, he admitted. I lost Catherine. The pain nearly destroyed me. The thought of loving you and losing you too. You will not lose me. Isabella cupped his face with her hands. I am here. I am yours. Are you? His eyes searched hers. Truly? Or do you just feel obligated because I rescued you? You did rescue me, but that is not why I care for you. I care because you are good, because you are honorable, because beneath that cold exterior is a man capable of great tenderness, because you make me feel safe and valued and seen. I do not deserve you, and I do not deserve you. We are even. Christian laughed. Then his expression turned serious. I want to kiss you. Properly this time. May I? Isabella nodded. Her heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst from her chest. Christian leaned in slowly. His lips met hers softly at first, tentative, then deeper. His arms came around her, pulling her close. Isabella melted into him. The kiss was everything, sweet and passionate and full of promise. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. Christian rested his forehead against hers. I love you, Isabella. I did not think I could say those words again, but I love you. I love you too. The words came easily, natural as breathing. Christian kissed her again, and again. Years of loneliness fell away. Two broken people found wholeness in each other's arms. That night, Christian carried Isabella to his bedroom. Their marriage was finally consummated with tenderness and passion. They learned each other's bodies slowly, carefully, with love and reverence. Afterward, Isabella lay in Christian's arms, her head on his chest. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her bare shoulder. I was so lost before you came, he whispered into the darkness. I thought I would spend the rest of my life alone, cold, dead inside. And now? Now I am alive again. You gave me back my heart, Isabella. You healed wounds I thought would never mend. We healed each other. Isabella kissed his chest. You saved me from a life of cruelty. I saved you from a life of emptiness. We are even. I will spend the rest of my life making you happy, Christian promised. I will give you everything you deserve. I already have everything I need. I have you. They fell asleep, wrapped around each other. For the first time in years, neither of them had nightmares. They only dreamed of the future they would build together. The next months were the happiest of Isabella's life. She and Christian were inseparable. They spent their days together managing the estate, their evenings in each other's arms. Christian took her to London for the season. He proudly introduced her to society as his duchess. Let anyone who questioned their marriage see how much he adored his wife. Isabella held her head high. She was no longer the broken girl from Thornwood Estate. She was the Duchess of Ravenscroft, beloved by her husband, respected by society. She had found her place in the world. One evening, as autumn turned the leaves golden, Isabella found Christian in the portrait gallery. He stood before Catherine's portrait, his expression sad but peaceful. I will never forget her, he said, as Isabella joined him. She was my first love. I know, and I would never ask you to forget her. But you are my great love. Christian turned to Isabella and pulled her close. The love that saved me, the love I will carry for the rest of my life. Isabella looked up at Catherine's portrait. The painted woman seemed to smile down at them, as if giving her blessing. "I think she would be happy for you," Isabella said softly, "that you found love again." "I think so too." Christian kissed the top of Isabella's head. "She always said I should never stop living, that love was worth any risk. I did not understand then, but I do now." They left the portrait gallery hand in hand. The past was at peace. The future stretched ahead, bright with possibility. 6 months later, Isabella discovered she was with child. Christian's joy was boundless. He fussed over her constantly, made sure she had everything she needed, talked to her growing belly every night. "I am going to be a father," he said with wonder in his voice. "I never thought I would have this." "You will be a wonderful father," Isabella assured him. Their son was born the following spring. They named him Alexander, after Christian's father, but with the middle name James for Isabella's father. The baby had Christian's dark hair and Isabella's blue eyes. Christian wept when he held his son for the first time. Tears of joy and gratitude and overwhelming love. "Thank you." He kissed Isabella's forehead as she lay exhausted but happy in their bed. "Thank you for giving me everything I thought I lost. A family, a home, a reason to live. We are all yours," Isabella smiled. "For always." Word of Lady Thornwood's downfall reached them a year after Alexander's birth. She had lost everything. Her home, her position. Her daughter Beatrice had married poorly to escape. Lady Thornwood lived in a small cottage, dependent on charity. Isabella felt no satisfaction in her stepmother's fall, only pity. She sent money anonymously to ensure Lady Thornwood did not starve. When Christian learned of her generosity, he held her tight. "You have the kindest heart," he said. "After everything she did to you, you still show mercy. I am happy now. I do not need revenge. I just need you and Alexander." Christian kissed her deeply. "And we need you. Always." Years passed in contentment. Isabella and Christian had 3 more children, 2 daughters and another son. Ravenscroft Hall rang with laughter and life. Isabella transformed from the broken girl who arrived in a worn dress to a confident duchess, beloved by all who knew her. She managed the estate brilliantly, started charities for abused women and children, became a voice for those without power. Christian supported her in everything. He was proud of the woman she became, proud to call her his wife. On their 10th wedding anniversary, they stood in the library where they had their first real conversation, where Isabella first glimpsed the man beneath the ice. "Do you remember that night?" Christian pulled her into his arms. "When you played the piano and I told you I could not love you?" "I remember. You were so convinced your heart was dead. I was wrong. My heart was just waiting for you. And mine was waiting for you." Isabella kissed him softly. "My cold duke who saved me with blood and bound me with love." "I bought your freedom," Christian smiled. "But you captured my heart completely. Who really saved whom?" "We saved each other," Isabella said. "And we will keep saving each other. Every day, for the rest of our lives." "Forever," Christian agreed. They stood together in their library, surrounded by books and memories. Outside, their children played in the gardens. Inside, 2 souls who had been broken found wholeness in each other. Isabella thought back to that scared girl who arrived at Ravenscroft Hall, who believed she was worthless, who expected a cold prison with a colder husband. Instead, she found home. She found love. She found herself. Christian had bought her freedom with blood money, but in the end, love chained them both. Not the chains of ownership or obligation, but the golden chains of devotion, of partnership, of two hearts that beat as one, and those were the sweetest chains of all.